What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Manchester United won, Middlesbrough won. Manchester United are out of the FA Cup in the fourth round after losing to Middlesbrough on penalties. DJ, I think it's difficult to even say how do you sum that up. It's difficult to say a lot of things after that. We'll do our best, guys, to get into the moments in that game, the performances, there's a lot to talk about. DJ, how are you feeling at the moment? What are you feeling about that?
I'm feeling a little bit weird about that game, to be fair. First half, I thought we was really good. It was really bright. I said it, I said it to you and KG at half time. I said, looks like we're actually playing as a team for the first time in a long while. The players are linking up really well.
The frustrating thing is for 75 minutes, we almost played all right.
Played good. We played some really good football. One touch stuff, two touch stuff. We created a lot of chances. The one that comes to mind is Bruno just hitting the post. Like just maybe a cooler head, you just slot that in the goal. Like we had Sancho hit the bar. Like Ronaldo had a couple of chances. Like
it's a penalty.
There you go. The game was there for the taking, and I think after a while, personally, I just thought I don't think it's going to be our night. And all due respect to Anthony Elanga there, it takes a lot of balls to step up as a 19-year-old and put a penalty away.
Exactly.
But as he stepped up, I looked at him walking towards the ball and he did not look confident at all. And I just said, literally before he struck it, I said he's going to miss it.
And the thing is, though, with that, like with the Elanga thing, because I said at the end of the match for you with KG, we did not lose this game. I mean, technically, obviously, he missed the penalty that lost the penalty shootout, but we did not lose this game because of Anthony Elanga. We lost this game, first of all, because they scored a goal which shouldn't have been allowed to happen. We also lost this game because, for whatever reason, we just could not put the ball in the back of the net tonight. If it's Ronaldo missing a penalty, if it's Bruno Fernandes missing an open goal, Elanga did have a heading opportunity late on in the game, but so many chances. And we were going up against a keeper, by the way, that Middlesbrough. He was terrible. It was awful. And we just couldn't get the ball in the back of the net. So the blame firmly goes on ourselves. I think we have to talk about the referee. We have to talk about that decision and that goal, which we will do. But certainly there's one thing, and I really do hope when it comes to Elanga that he's surrounded by good people and he understands that this wasn't on him. It was not on him. And the people that try and push it like that are just morons, to be honest. Super chat from Ronaldo says, do you agree this is the worst team since 2008? I mean, that would, I guess, Ronaldo implied that the 2008 team was bad. I mean, are we saying that was the peak and we've just sort of gradually got worse there? There have been worse Manchester United sides throughout history. Again, we can't look at it as, look at some of the sides maybe in like the 80s or the 70s, stuff like that. It's very frustrating, and people will talk about, obviously, the level of opposition we've lost to tonight as well being a massive problem. Ray Diaz also says, I got to go, but before I do, this loss is on the players. System and selection gave plenty of chances and just couldn't find the net. Pogba showed up. I mean, that's the thing as well, is given the current feeling at the moment, DJ, you kind of forget that Paul Pogba started the game and played well. That his return is completely overshadowed, and we'll get to it. We absolutely will get to it. But let's talk about their goal, because I think that's going to be the thing people are talking about a lot coming out of the game. I mean, can you wrap your head around that one? Can you find any explanation in that? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I was actually doing a little bit of research, and I believe it's Law 12 in terms of football that says, I did a bit of research. I'm not really one with the research, but I had to have a look today, and I think it said something about Law 12 being that even if a player has handled the ball, if his body's in an unnatural position, that leads to, it didn't say exactly an assist, but leads to something to do with the goal, because that was quite pivotal. It should be awarded as a free kick to the opposing team. It goes as a handball. And if you look at it, that's what it was. It was about the player making his body bigger than usual, which causes a handball, and he clearly does that. I was quite confident saying, it's a handball. I all looked away from the screen for a little bit. I was like, it's a handball. And then they were saying that they were looking at other rules to do with, they've changed the rule from like last year. And look, they can change all the rules they want. It's a handball. I know they've got this rule saying that, the next kick has to be in the net. But I think it goes for the assist also. It should do. And I think it should go for the pass before the assist also. I just think anywhere else on the pitch, the referee blows his whistle. So if he can blow his whistle anywhere else on the pitch, he should be blowing it in the box. And that's just my opinion. And I think the referee had a shocking game today. I've seen worse refs, but he didn't have a good game at all. Even with some of United's thing, like we fouled him quite a lot after that, and he let a lot of it slide because he knew. I think he knew in the back of his head that maybe he should have called for it to be a free kick to United. But I said to you, we was robbed. I feel a bit cheated because we've had such a good performance. Pogba, who was just mentioned before, very good game from Pogba, seeing as he's been out since I think October, November, and I just feel a bit flat, Owen, to be honest. Like that game, I thought, yeah, this could be the start of something where we build and we go forward. But again, just a bit wasteful in front of goal, and you was right. We just need to put the blame solely on us. We can talk about the ref; it is a key point, but we had chances to win the game. We did. We had chances to literally put these guys away, and we didn't take it.
Ronaldo says, "Do you agree this is the worst team since 2009?" Are you going to keep just going up the years? Look, like you said, DJ, and I know that opposition fans will say this, going, you're clutching. It's a championship side, and you're talking about a refereeing decision or a handball. You need a handball to defeat a championship side. And to be honest with you, you're right. And like we said before, you're right in the sense that, let's face it, that referee decision, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't, because we should have scored 3 or 4 goals tonight. And then a stupid decision, you should go after the game. Don't know what the referee was doing about that decision, but it doesn't matter because we won 3 or 4-1. Ultimately, we didn't put the ball in the back of the net enough. We created so many chances. We missed a penalty of our own, and Bruno Fernandes missed his open goal. Those are gilt-edged chances that you have to score. And it doesn't matter which team you're playing, even if it's in the FA Cup against a championship side, you will be punished. And we rode our luck by not scoring goals, and it came back to bite us. But you can't not have a discussion about the refereeing. You can't not have a discussion because, as I spoke about in the match view, to me, it's a bigger issue than just this game as well, because we have seen this throughout the Premier League this season. We've seen it a lot in England this season. The standard of refereeing in England right now is shambolic. It's laughable. And it's not just Manchester United. I remember Newcastle when they play Man City, when the one where Edison comes out, just takes down the player. Nothing. And you can almost accept it. You can accept it. And I think, and it's like the goal tonight, you can accept it by going, I tell you what, the referee has missed one there, but thank God we've got VAR, because they'll pick it up. And I think that's the frustrating thing, is there shouldn't be any human error when you get so many looks at it. And you get not even just that. When it happened, everyone in the stadium, everyone on TV went handball. Everyone went, I don't know why you're celebrating so much, because in a minute it's going to get chalked off. Commentary was saying, it's going to get chalked off. And then it just going, no, it's given. And everyone's like, what? Looking around? Accidental handball. That's what they reference it as, accidental handball. And as I mentioned, the standard of refereeing has become a joke. Even with VAR, they can't make easy and logical decisions. If that is a defensive situation, put it this way, if it's Rafael Varane and his hand's out that far and it hits his hand, they'll go penalty. Penalty every day. Yeah. And so what's the difference? And then you get these people either on social media, or you get these people like they're on commentary going, wow, by the letter of the law, it's a correct decision. Well, change the law then.
Yeah, the law is
shit. Changing again. They've flip-flopped on this law so many times, because every single time they get stupid decisions. What you need your law, and then it should be flexible, because you should give the referee the power of going, I tell you what, let's use a bit of logic here. Let's use a bit of common sense. Yeah. You can't tell me if the referee went to the TV screen at the side of the pitch and looked at that, he'd go, that's fine. What? Because he didn't handball it into the net, so it's fine. Because that's what they were trying to judge, weren't they? They were saying if like the next move is a goal, the next thing is a goal, it's fine. So I can literally pick the ball up in the box, but as long as I pass it and square it, it doesn't matter. Basically, is what you're saying. And again, I know people will say, Owen, you're clutching at straws there. You can't even beat a championship side at Old Trafford and this, that, and the other. No, we didn't win the game because we missed open goals, we missed penalties tonight. Obviously, that's why. But as a general sort of wider discussion, the standard of refereeing is so poor, so poor.
That's really poor. And, obviously they never do it, but I do think that, referees need to be held accountable, whether obviously it would never be televised, but whether we get a report, I don't know, a report gets sent to, some of the Premier League teams if they feel they've had a decision hard done by it. And we need to understand the referees' thinking behind it, just for the peace of mind, because if you're telling me that if you handball the ball and you do not mean to do it, and it leads to you assisting a player that scores a goal that's allowed, I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot of players maybe even playing on that fact, making it look like they've not handled it on purpose. Because if that's the rules, that's a shit rule. Because clearly the balls, he's pulled the ball out of the air. His touch has been terrible. It's rebounded off his hand back into his path, and then he squared it, and then he scored. That is a handball. That is a
Yeah,
handball.
it's a
There's none of this
handball, and
rules
again,
shit. It's handball.
I'm almost reluctant to go down that route because, again, and I can see it in the chat. People going, "Oh, stop moaning about the referee. You lost to a championship side." Okay, and first of all, if it's Arsenal fans, go look in the last round because, but and it doesn't excuse it. Again, we should be in a situation by the time that goal goes in that we're 3-0 up anyway. So. Yeah. You can't put solely the blame on that. It's something you have to talk about. When it does go to those penalties, though, like the Ronaldo missed penalty or the Bruno missed open goal, how do you even explain that, DJ?
Man, you know what? It's just, all I'll say is something that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer used to say, and I'm going to say it today, fine margins. Literally fine margins. And football is a funny old game. You could be getting turned over for 80 minutes, 90 minutes, and then in stoppage time you nick it. Like it's like the great train robbery today. They literally got away with it. Middlesbrough got away with it. They got away with murder today. Literally, I don't understand how we're hitting
we
the
allowed
bar.
them to. That's the frustrating thing.
We let them off the hook. Ronaldo was unusually wasteful. It was very unusual for him. But he played all right. He had a lot of chances today. We created a lot. Just can't put the ball in the net. The Bruno one for me is the worst one for me because I'm thinking,
open goal.
why are you trying to do laces? Just inside foot, you pass that into the net. Simple as. And
because look, Chris Wilder will think he would have said to himself before the game, obviously we need to ride our luck. We'll get a bit lucky. If we're going to win, it'll be on a set piece or penalties, which ultimately it was. Yeah. But they would think, I tell you what, if we give away that many chances at Old Trafford, we'll go out. Because you can't give away a penalty, you can't give away open goal, and even in the first half when Sancho hit the bar, it's a goalkeeper mistake. The goalkeeper's all over the place. He nearly gave away 2 goals tonight. Yeah. He would think like we can't do that and go through, but they have, and that's on us. You can take the refereeing out of it. That's on us. That you can't. You've got to kill the game off. It doesn't matter who your opponent is, whether they are Man City or Liverpool, or whether they're a team in the conference. You don't take your chances. The other team gets into the game because they came to Old Trafford thinking they probably didn't have much of an opportunity. And what did we do? We just gave them a chance. We constantly gave them a chance. And that ultimately just is not good enough. David B says that's not legal. We should sue the referees. I mean, if only, right? Zayn Miasi's laughing with the super sticker. Like I said, Zayn, I mean, I appreciate obviously the contribution, but and another one, I appreciate the second contribution, Zayn. He's got the mum's credit card out tonight. But the thing is, Zayn, is that maybe it's something to celebrate because they've got nothing to celebrate as Arsenal fans. They can't even celebrate it January. The strikers they were going for went to other clubs. Yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, it's football. United's overall performance in terms of there are some positives. I do feel there's some positives. I think a few players played well, especially ones coming back. I thought Shaw played okay, coming back into the team. We controlled the games for
KG will massively disagree with you there. He was not happy at all with Luke Shaw, especially in the extra time period where he was off it. And in fairness, I think especially in the extra time period, everyone was off it. I don't think anyone
else tired. They were knackered,
well. But it wasn't even that. But then I don't care if you're tired. We're talking quality again. That's the problem. Yeah. It felt like just complete regression happened last. Obviously, 30 minutes of extra time and just like maybe the last 10 minutes game, complete regression of standards. Anything positive that we were doing in the first 60 minutes just vanished, gone.
Yeah, do you know what? Do you know why I think that was? I think the players, I think their heads were on the floor by that point. I think they huffed and puffed, and Middlesbrough just wouldn't go away. They tried everything. We'd hit the bar, we'd hit the post, we missed a penalty, missed open goals. We literally just missed all our chances, and I think, especially the players, they would have been feeling confident for the first half and a little bit of the second half. They would have been thinking that, yeah, man, we're playing well, we're stringing passes together. Confidence would have been at an all-time high. But then after a while, when you don't put that ball in the net, that's when pressure starts coming in, fatigue starts settling in. I'm not making excuses, just reality of the game. Like, you asked those players if they were tired. They were. People were sort of like, starting to, pull little muscle strains and stuff like that. It was a deep game in terms of, we played for what, 2 hours. Played about,
But won't people say it's the same for the other team as well?
Of course, but Middlesbrough didn't do nothing.
And they played last week.
Think about this. Middlesbrough's keeper didn't save a penalty. We literally just missed the goal. We literally gave them that win. We gave them the palm of our hand and said, there, take it. Because Middlesbrough did nothing. They did nothing. There was nothing that they did that we was scared of. They got a fluky, jammy goal from the ref. Dubious goal. We all know that shouldn't have stood. It is what it is. Not here to make excuses on that, but we have. If we're real football fans here, we're going to look at the game in its entirety. As you said before, we've got to bring up, that decision. That decision goes against the players. Probably the heads go down. I thought the subs were spot on. You bring on Elanga, yeah, good. For me, obviously because there's no Cavani at the moment, I think Ronaldo shouldn't have even stayed on as long as he did. And it might sound crazy because we needed the goal, but I think he'd done everything that he could humanly possibly do as Ronaldo. Just couldn't put the ball in the net tonight.
I thought, Ronaldo just... I think that might be a situation now where you look at it and you go, tell you what, if we'd had Anthony Martial as an option, bring him on. That was the bit. And I know it's very easy now to say all this kind of stuff, especially when they're gone. But it just felt like what's just so difficult to wrap your head around is that for 60 minutes or so we were good. We did play well. And then it's just a complete regression. And I know, like you said, tiredness, but I just don't buy that. I mean, we're talking about professional footballers. We're talking about a Middlesbrough team that's in the Championship. They played last weekend. We didn't. They were in Dubai. They were in Dubai last weekend. And, 90 minutes, now they're getting tired. They just didn't do it, especially in extra time. They did nothing. Absolutely nothing. Where was that? You talk about passion and desire. Where was that passion and desire to win in extra time? There looked like one side that was going to win that in extra time, and it wasn't Manchester United. Poor quality of balls into the box, poor passing, shooting from 30 yards out, just complete regression. If you're Ralph Rangnick, you would be standing on the touchline or sitting there going, I felt like we were getting some kind of momentum and you've just completely regressed like that immediately. I think you're talking about elite level players, supposedly.
Yeah, the pressure clearly got to him. Pressure clearly got to them because they started.
But they're saying that, DJ. This is the FA Cup fourth round. If the pressure's getting to you at Old Trafford in the FA Cup fourth round against Middlesbrough, you shouldn't be a Manchester United player because there are far bigger pressure moments than that. We want to win Champions Leagues or Premier Leagues. Why the pressure's getting to you in the FA Cup fourth round?
Do you know what hurts the most, Owen? We need a cup. And what's left is the big boy. And
come on, let's write that off.
I know. I need to behave myself, but still, we needed a cup. If anyone needed a cup, if anyone needed a bit of luck, it was us. And you know what? I hope Middlesbrough go on and win it. I hope they go on and win it with their jammy goal. Go and win it.
But I mean, you can talk about even luck. I didn't even need luck tonight. You just need to put the ball in the back of the net. We made our luck by we got a penalty. I mean, this is what as well. We did get luck. We got luck tonight because the opportunities that we got, the first Jadon Sancho, the chip in the first half, comes from a goalkeeper mistake. Bruno Fernandes' open goal comes from a goalkeeper mistake. The penalty, I mean, he's on the wrong side of him, but he slips over and he fouls Ronaldo. We got luck three times. We got luck three times, and even that we couldn't do. It's just
I can't believe Bruno missed that. I'm literally replaying it in my head. I'm like, just side foot it. Why are you going for? He literally put his foot through that. Yeah, just inside foot, and we're what 2-0 up or whatever it was at that time. Just it's tough to take.
Ronaldo says, "Can we agree? Ronaldo just ain't the answer. Do we need other options?"
Yeah, we do.
If there was Edison Cavani,
exactly. I think we can all agree. I think Edison Cavani would have been a great addition today. I've said many times, I love Cristiano Ronaldo. I just don't think he needs to play every minute of every single game. I don't care about temper tantrums, none of it. I think and I know it's ifs, buts, and maybes, but if Edison is fit, for this game, Ralph pulls Ronaldo off. But again, it's a difficult one because if you're going into extra time, or maybe you put Eddie up there with Ronaldo, maybe you take off Sancho for Eddie or whatever, and you put him up top with Ronaldo. Maybe that would have been a good bit of play. But I don't think Ronaldo needs to play every game. He was tired. 36 years of age, played 2 hours of football basically.
Does
It doesn't
any of
sit
the
well with me.
blame go on Ralph Rangnick for you tonight?
No, no, because I think if we would have scored those chances, there'd be no blame to put on the manager. To be fair, we
I
created
agree.
enough.
I
It's the
agree. I
players.
think that, as a manager, you can pick obviously the players and you can set up the team the way you set up the team. But I think he would say, well, I obviously picked the players that could, that made chances, and it was a system that made chances as well. I can't put the ball in the back of the net for you. I wish I could, but I
Yeah,
can't.
yeah,
That's ultimately your job, and
yeah,
they did do it. And
yeah. We
United have to
won.
hold themselves accountable,
Yeah,
especially the big players.
yeah,
Again, people like Ronaldo, people
yeah,
like Bruno. We're talking about big players. Bruno wants a big contract. Ronaldo's obviously, Cristiano Ronaldo. But if you're this is why I say Anthony Elanga shouldn't have to go into the dressing room and say, "Sorry, guys, I missed the penalty." No. He should, if he even dares say that, he should have the players like Bruno Fernandes and Cristiano Ronaldo go, no, you don't need to apologize. We need to apologize because we're ultimately the ones that missed chances when it really mattered. It shouldn't even got to the point where the pressure was on you in a sudden death penalty. It should have never got to that point.
One
And
thing
again,
about
they need to be held
Elanga
accountable.
though. One thing about Elanga though. I will say this: the only thing I'm critical of is, look, if you're nervous, right, and this goes for any of you guys out there who are young. If you're 19, 18 and you're watching, if you're nervous and you're going to take a penalty, right, you just pick one of the bottom corners. You go hard and go low. Don't try and pull it in the top bins because don't do any of that. Hard and low. I don't know what he did. I don't know what he was trying to do. It was kind of like
But even
inside
that,
deep, curl it. Just
even
hit
that,
hard and low,
like
man.
if
Laces.
he wasn't confident for a penalty, he didn't volunteer himself. It was sudden death penalties.
Yeah, you had
I've
to.
been there as
Yeah,
well. I've been in penalty shoot as a goalkeeper to the point where I've
yeah,
had to take one
yeah.
before, and I'm like, and that's what you think. You think I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. Effort. I'm just going to put my foot through it, and then
Yeah,
sometimes it happens,
yeah.
And again, it's not him. Pedro says Cavani needed to beat Borough. Jesus, we're bad. I mean, this is the thing as well. Like, but we shouldn't. This is the frustrating thing. It's that, like, I know obviously we lost, but it's like, but we didn't need Edison Cavani to beat Borough because those players, any other day, they put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah. You know what? I want to say, look, there's a lot of United fans that are disappointed. I'm disappointed. I don't know you are, Owen, but that game weren't black and white. If you look at it, we dominated. It's not like Borough dominated us for large parts and we lost all of our battles, the midfield battle. We won absolutely everything in that game apart from the fucking match. We did everything that we needed to do apart from put the ball in the net.
But that's why we've only got ourselves to blame. That's
right.
You can only get yourselves back, and not even the manager. I mean, even some people might say, Ralph's a fraud, Ralph's this, that, and the other. But it's like,
that'd be crazy
again,
to blame Ralph.
You can have Ten Hag, you can have Pochettino. Again, they can't put the ball in the back of the net for the players.
It's true. It's so true. And we let Borough off the hook today.
No, exactly. A couple of quotes coming out of the game.
Ralph
Rangnick has said, quotes, anyone can imagine how he, being Anthony Elanga, is. He is shattered and absolutely disappointed. Rangnick also said, quote, incredibly disappointed. We should have won and killed the game off in the first half.
Yep.
Crossbar, post, missed penalty and numerous chances. It could have been 2-0 or 3-0. When it comes to the Middlesbrough goal, he said, quotes, how can it be accidental if he controls the ball up in the air with his hand? It was clear it should not stand, but in the end, I was really surprised it stood. In the moment when they scored, it was clear that VAR would not allow this goal to stand. We were not well positioned in that moment, too open and allowed them to counter. We should have won the game. Even Chris Wilder himself has said, quotes, the decisions that are made through VAR have changed since I left the Premier League. I thought straight away it was handball. I thought it would be chalked out and delighted that it wasn't. So even he, even he is saying well, I thought it was going to be disallowed. And again, like, who even knows the rules or who even knows all that kind of stuff? It's just, Ronaldo says, oh, and I disagree. We lost because we are terrible, not because luck was not on our side. Can't finish equals relegation teams. Well, I would disagree with how you've perceived that, Ronaldo, because my point was I didn't say we lost it because luck was on our side. I've said we've only got ourselves to blame. We can't blame. We can talk about the referee, and it's a shocking decision, but ultimately that decision should be redundant because we should be 2, 3, 4 up by that point. We had so many chances. That's not luck. again, I even said a couple of minutes ago, I said that if anything, luck was on our side because we got a penalty and two goalkeeper mistakes, one where Sancho hits the bar and another where Bruno hits the post. I mean, your luck's really in. If before the game you said the goalkeeper's going to make two mistakes and you're going to get a penalty, you go, we're gonna walk it. That had nothing to do with luck. You know, if anything, our luck was in. The quality of whatever reason wasn't there, in my opinion. But I appreciate the contribution. And Randick also said, DJ, before I come back to you, said, quote, we were one outfield player less on the team sheet, so I would have allowed him, Lingard, to have 4 or 5 days off. I would have loved to have had him in the squad. So obviously he's talking about Jesse Lingard possibly being in the squad. To be honest with you, though, I think if Lingard even was available, I just don't. We weren't putting the ball in the back of the net tonight.
Yeah, we weren't putting it in the back of the net, and you know we've seen it through the history of football. That happens when you don't, as you said earlier, Owen. Good point you made where you said, you know, it doesn't matter what team you're playing against if you're missing your chances. You know, because like sometimes in a football match you might miss 3 chances, and if you miss the 4th one, it starts to creep into your back of your mind like maybe it's not our day. And I did feel a little bit of that. I did think, come on, they've gifted us a lot of chances here, and we've just been wasteful with it, and that's what happens. It comes back to bite you. Middlesbrough didn't deserve to win the game. United were on top for large parts. You could say obviously extra time kind of reverted back to bad habits and stuff like that, but for large parts should have won the game. Should have killed the game by minimum the second half. Should have killed the game, and we just didn't do it. So we only have ourselves to blame. I wouldn't say we played terrible. If you want to talk about playing, I thought we played well. Good passages of play, a lot of chance creation. Just again, missing the ball in the back of the net, and that happens sometimes.
I think that's the frustrating thing, is that you would probably think, actually, you know what? If we played like that, you know, and made that many chances, most times we would score it, and that's the frustrating thing. And again, that's why I think you have to, these senior pros, the senior players, the Brunos and Ronaldos, they have to hold their hands up and say, "That's on me. That's on me. I didn't take my chances today." Yeah. Especially when, you know, in the sense of a Ronaldo, and I'm always reluctant to criticize Ronaldo because he's Cristiano Ronaldo. If anyone deserves the benefit of the doubt, it's him. But at the end of the day, if you play a striker, what's your job? What's your role? Put the ball in the back of the net. And he didn't do that today, and that's just incredibly frustrating. I think it's frustrating as well because, let's face it, unless some kind of miracle happens, and Lord knows we're praying for one now, we're not going to win the Champions League. This was the trophy we were looking for, to be honest, wasn't it? And not only have we gone out in an early stage, but we've gone out to a side that should never be beating us at Old Trafford. It's a massive step back because not only is it a defeat, but it's a step back because, you know, it's being clinical and it's being what big teams do. If, you know, most other big sides in the Premier League, if they got that many opportunities, they would put Middlesbrough to the sword, and we didn't.
Imagine that's City or Liverpool, Chelsea. Oh,
yeah.
Games out of sight already. Games out of sight from the first half. And they're comfortable. They can go put on maybe some of the young players towards the end of the game. We just made it difficult. Typical United. We just made it way more difficult than it needed to be. Had loads of chances and just didn't put the ball in the back of the net. And I think that's the most annoying, frustrating thing about it, is that if we would have scored all of our chances that we had, you know, we could be sitting here talking about performances of the players. Maybe this team can actually try and do something and push forward till the end of the season. But as you're right, it's a step back. It's kind of a black mark against our name now. We're out of the FA Cup. It just hurts, man. It just hurts, and it's just frustrating.
And don't get me wrong as well. I mean, in every game, you never score every chance you make. We're talking, I think the frustrating thing is we're talking about gilt-edged chances. We're not talking about, you know, we're not even talking about playing up against an inspired goalkeeper as well. That's the difference. So sometimes you play games and you have chances and you go, we couldn't put the ball in the back of the net, but man, did their goalkeeper have a good game and made so many saves. That wasn't even the case today as well. We just missed.
Yeah.
We just missed. And again, it's also missing chances of, here Ronaldo says here, when was the last time we had a blowout game? How can you say any other day we would have scored? We're so bad, I'm depressed. The reason I would say that, and as always, appreciate the contribution, the reason I would say that any other day we would score is because 9 times out of 10, Cristiano Ronaldo scores from 12 yards for a penalty. 9 times out of 10, Bruno Fernandes scores in an open goal.
They were speaking about our XG. They were saying that basically, in a nutshell, that Middlesbrough's expected goals as I think it was the first half was going on, was like nothing. They weren't expected to score, and us, we was expected to score at least 3-4. Like, and that tells you all you need to know about this game. Like, we was the threat.
That's also game management. Did not manage that game properly at all as well. Stephen says, come on, guys, we are bad team of individuals. Got a couple of ones to get to here. Admin team says, our best team can't beat Borough. Let that sink in. Sick and tired of these crap displays. Happened too much this season to be a one-off. PJ says, played good and lost. At least there is still progression under Ranić. And Pablo says, we played well first half. Pogba made big difference. We looked good. Shameful finishing. Then we ran out of steam. The forward playing is not great either, but better than it has been, a lot better. So we get some contrasting opinions there, which is always great. Continue the discussion in the live chat. In my opinion, DJ, I lean more towards the side of it just could have been so different. You know what I mean? Yeah. It just could have been so different in the sense that, like, again, we're talking about Paul Pogba. We'll move on to him. Paul Pogba makes his return for the first time in months. Starts the game, plays what was about 60 minutes-ish, 65 minutes, something like that. And he played really well. I thought looks really sharp. I thought the midfield of him and McTominay and Bruno was good. They made chances. They looked free-flowing. There was flair there.
Yeah.
And again, I just think that just like they made chances, and I just can't wrap my head around how they can't finish those chances.
Yeah, it's just annoying because, you know, Pogba comes in today. I thought he would have maybe been an impact player from the bench, but, you know, Ranić chose to start him in the starting 11. I thought he played really well. I thought he played really well. You know, for someone that's been out for so long.
By the way.
Was it 80 minutes? 80 minutes?
Yeah.
Played well, almost played an entire game. Played really well. You could tell he ran out of steam close to the end. But again, I loved some of the one-touch passing, and you know, there's a lot of our viewers here saying, "Oh, we're terrible." You know, there wasn't attacking play. But I totally disagree. I saw a game where we looked very, very good in attack in terms of our interplay. Someone said a team of individuals. I didn't see a team of individuals today. Actually, I actually thought we looked like an actual team attacking from the whole team, from defense. Varane was awesome. Like, from defense all the way through the team, I thought we looked really good. Again, it was just that end product, which is goals. Because if we scored goals, none of you guys would have been saying that we were a team of individuals today, because we actually played really well. If we scored all those chances, no one would be saying that we was a team of individuals. So, you know, it's a bittersweet thing in terms of I do see some progression. I do see not a lot of progression, but I see some progression. And it's just a shame that we couldn't sort of put the icing on top of the cake of today's first half performance, especially. It hurts, man. I think Pogba had an amazing game. That midfield with McTominay, him and Bruno, I think against lesser sides it can work. Still a little bit sceptical against the big boys, though.
I think also as well, when he came off, it looked considerably worse. And we can put that down to fatigue, put that down to whatever. But I know there's one player, and he was never going to play the full 90 anyway. I think he probably played more minutes than Ralph would have wanted anyway, considering the circumstances. But if there was a player you would have wanted an extra time to make something happen, or maybe be able to do a bit of magic when it comes to a forward pass, it would have been Paul Pogba. Ronaldo says, 27 years as a Manchester United fan, and my jerseys are going into storage. Not taking the defeat very well. Chris says, at least the fans at Old Trafford had plenty of food and drink. Oh, don't even start. Did you hear that?
Gosh.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard something about I heard KG just going off about it. I didn't understand.
So basically, just before halftime, there was an announcement made over the PA thing that basically said, due to a technical issue, there will be no food and drink served at halftime or served during the game at all. So you've got 75,000 people there that can't have anything to drink, anything to eat. Marcus Rashford was on the pitch, his head was spinning. He couldn't believe this whole situation. How does that even happen? Like, we're talking about, and I get like Manchester United, and I get like, you know, we're diverting here, but even that, like, talking like this is meant to be. Old Trafford is not one of the like elite stadiums anymore. It's not, you know, especially considering, you know, all of the damage to it, you know, and it's not modern stadium. My point being, there needs to be a lot done to that stadium. It could be, it's huge still, but technical issues, can't sell food and drink. The Glazers, that's probably the thing they're fuming the most about. They could give a shit that we went out of the FA Cup tonight, but they're thinking, what? We didn't make any money from food and drink sales? That's the liberty. That's the one they're furious about. And I think that speaks volumes.
Yeah, you know what? I think that food and drink thing, I'm just trying to think what was the technical difficulty. Did the truck the catering truck like crash, or I don't know, did the food fall out onto flipping?
I think maybe like the tills went down or something like that, or I don't know.
Yeah, it's silly, but
it's not as if there wasn't food in the stadium. Like, let's get that, because there's no way.
Yeah, there's no way. It's
not like someone unplugged the freezer.
It's just so indicative of what we are as a club at the moment. Like, who's ever heard of that? I've never heard of that personally. And you know, someone on Twitter actually said a couple of days ago, and they said that it's clear that the Glazers use United to sort of fund Tampa. Is it the Buccaneers? Is it Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
The Brady thing. Yeah. Just Tom Brady, when he retired this week, and he was saying the Glazers couldn't wish for any better owners. I was like, you were talking to some different people. Tom Brady, don't go to Manchester, mate. You say that those kind of words are fighting words in Manchester. I'm telling you.
You get mobbed, you get attacked.
Yeah. I just, you know, and it just even feels like that. You know, when you can't even sell like a pie at half time, that's when you know things are going wrong. When you go up there and go like, I'll have a Fanta, please, and they go, no,
sorry, technical fault, and everyone, and there's probably loads of fans that their voices are hoarse, a bit dry, they need a drink, need refreshments, can't even get that, get that. And look what we do.
Worse, losing a penalty shootout and you're hangry as well. You know what I mean? As well, you're like,
that referee would have come in for some abuse at the end of that game. I'm telling you now, you'd have the abuse he would have got. Don't condone that here on United View, but I'm just saying he would have come in for a lot of abuse.
Yeah, man. Some more comments from Ralph Rangnick after the game. He said, quote, "We will try and encourage him," talking about Anthony Elanga again, "to be there for him. It can happen to more experienced players. We could not have more players to take it. There was Luke Shaw, Phil Jones, and the goalkeeper," basically saying we did our best to protect him, but it was coming to sudden death penalties. He also said Paul Pogba played okay, what I expected him to play. So it was okay. But I tell you what, if that's what he thinks, and he thinks what he can do way more, then I'd love to see it. You know, that's not fair enough. I'm about that. He also said Cavani had been playing for Uruguay on Wednesday with jet lag and travel arrangements. I didn't think it would have made sense. He would have not been in the squad anyway. This is what was a good point. It was actually brought up by James when me and Flex were doing the press conference on Thursday, saying that, you know, people, some United fans are getting frustrated about Cavani, you know, when he asked for time off or missing time with his injuries, etc. I don't obviously, look, if we had Edison Cavani in the squad tonight, it would have been beneficial. But Ralph's essentially saying there, look, he wasn't going to play. He just, because he was jet lagged. And also as well, we know if you rush Edison Cavani back, he will get injured. It's simple as we know his fitness. We know his fitness situation. So, I mean, what do you feel about that? I feel like it's a bit of a non-starter, to be honest.
Yeah, I think sometimes us fans, we look into things a little bit too deeply. Like, you know, if the man is saying, and Cavani, you can tell, he doesn't seem like the type of player that's gonna lie. I think if he feels in himself, you know what, I'm not 100%, I'm not gonna be of good use. I'm jet lagged. I'm a bit tired. I need a few extra days rest before, say, Tuesday or whatever. Just give the man his rest. Like, I just think we should stop trying to just force players to play. This ain't the olden days now. Players need a bit more care. They need to be wrapped up a little bit. Certain players, anyway, especially as you say, Cavani, who has a very, I wouldn't say notorious injury history, but it's pretty extensive.
That's the thing.
He needs to
people
be.
Said that about Fred, wouldn't they? They always say it'll be, but Fred came on and played tonight. It's like, yeah, but Fred never gets injured.
He doesn't
at all.
He doesn't get injured. So, and that's with McTominay as well, and that's why they get picked. The best ability is availability, and that's what they provide for you. I mean, you know, Fred and Cavani are two different players. Fred is in that, he's kind of like an engine. He'll run for days. But you got to give Cavani, again, slightly older player, 34 years of age. You got to give him some time. Again, it's the same thing that I said about Cristiano Ronaldo. For as good as he is, for as good as he was, I just don't think he should be playing every game. I think, and one last thing as well, I think us playing that deep into tonight's game, I think it's going to have a long-lasting effect on the players. I saw players sort of hobbling a little bit. Pogba looked a bit. I think Pogba took a knock. I think Jaden had a knock. So
hamstring, yeah.
I'm hoping it isn't a full sort of hamstring thing. But if it is, then it is what it is. But you know, that game, we made it so difficult for ourselves. If we would have put them away, Owen, our players would have been rested and fresh. So, is what it is.
Look, think about it maybe this way then. If we're saying that tonight was one of those games for whatever reason, they just could not put the ball in the back of the net. Would you rather it happened in a game like tonight, an FA Cup match, as opposed to, say, in the Premier League when we're fighting for the fourth spot? How do you balance that? Are you one of those people that's like, oh, I'd rather win a cup than finish top four, or how do you weight that one?
I think the league's the priority for me. I think it just depends on. We can always shift priorities just depending on how well we do. But for me, I would rather us get our shooting boots on in the Premier League because we need that fourth spot. We're not going to win the Champions League. Obviously, miracles do happen in football, but it's safe to say you could bet your house on it. United ain't going to win the Champions League. So if that's the case, we need to make sure we're in that full spot. And we didn't have our shooting boots on today. Some good creative play, one touch passing. It was good. It was good on the eye a little bit. But we need to convert those performances into goals in the Premier League. So I know everyone's pissed off. It's Middlesbrough. Yeah, people are going to say we're shit, this and that. But we actually do need to brush ourselves off. These games are going to come thick and fast. We've got, as Marcel said, March Madness coming up. So we need to make sure we're prepared for that. We just need to get on with it. We can take some positives from the game. Players are back. Some good performances. I mentioned Varane. I thought Varane was like... He literally just hit. There's no one that comes close to him in that defense. Like literally, just easy, just oozes class, like different level. I thought Dalot played okay. I thought Shaw played okay. Henderson didn't really have much to do. He made actually a couple of crucial saves there that could have been a bit dicey. But let's just take some of the positives. I'm not really dwelling on this game too much because I do think the referee's decision did sway much of the game. I do think that was a massive turning point. It's not, as I said, it's not like we was getting turned over in possession all the time. It's not like Middlesbrough were just putting piles and piles of pressure because we've seen games like that this season, Owen, where we just haven't turned up and we've had lesser teams literally put us to the sword. That didn't happen tonight. I repeat, it did not happen like that tonight. We was all over them. They weren't a threat. We was just wasteful. So let's hopefully now the players, they get a kick up the backside, from Ralph after this game, and we take this semi-good form into the league and try and get that full spot.
What do you think he says to the players after the game, Ralph? Do you think he frames it as, look, learning point, for you, you obviously, especially again, considering the chances that fell to these players, the specific players, you'd want those chances to fall to Ronaldo, Bruno, whatever. But do you reckon he'll frame it as, look, obviously, we should have won that, should have taken your chances? Do you think he also frames it as, but, for large parts of the game, we did play well. There is progress there.
Yeah,
is it now the challenge? Do you reckon the challenge now is to be like, despite the disappointment and the embarrassment, let's be honest, the embarrassment of losing to a championship side at home at Old Trafford, do you reckon he has to now try and frame it as, but we're still making some progress? It's difficult to say progress when you go out of a competition, I know, but do you reckon that's how he frames it?
Yeah, I think we shouldn't. I don't think he's going to beat the players over the head with this. Obviously, look, we've got seasoned professionals there that know that they should have done better with some of the chances. Ronaldo had loads, Bruno had a few, Sancho had some. Like, they knew from when they missed those chances that they need to do better. If I was, and this is one thing I will say, if I was Ralph, I'd say to the team, look, in future, they say it in sort of combat sports, they say it in boxing, they say it in MMA, like, don't leave it in the referee's hands because the referee could give the decision to someone else.
Yeah.
Go out and if you put the ball in the back of the net, the referee is going to have no choice but to award you that goal and you win the game. It is as simple as that. It is fine margins in football, but I think with the quality that we have, we shouldn't. I don't mind missing one or two chances, but not the amount that we had today. And Ralph should just say, look, if we want to bounce back, the best response is to bounce back in the league. Go and bounce back in the league. You win your next league game. You put goals in, and that's how I think us fans can be able to get over this loss.
I think that's a good point, actually, because, and I always say that you have to look at these things in perspective. Because if we finish 4th this season, if we continue to win games in the Premier League, and it's a bit of a disrespect to the FA Cup, I get it, but if we continue to win games in the league and we have a bit of form in the league, people will forget about this result pretty quickly.
Yeah, of course.
They'll just be like, oh, that was shit, but it doesn't matter because we got top 4. People will think that. And again, I think that's what Rangnick has to try and say to the players, okay, that obviously did not go the way we wanted, but we wanted to win a trophy. It doesn't look like we're going to have a trophy this season, but this season feels like almost a bit of a write-off anyway, to be honest, doesn't it? You've got an interim manager in charge and full focus goes to the summer as well. So the only thing now, I guess it's just, okay, top 4. Let's just get that 4th spot. And I know, again, that in itself, that mentality is really disappointing because at the beginning of the season, we thought we were going to win the league.
Man, it seems like about 10 years since we sat at the beginning of the season and KG was like, it feels different, bro.
I remember it.
Varane,
I remember it. Deadline day, summer. Oh, don't go back and watch it.
Man.
Be involved in that one.
Look what happens, man. Look at football. Look what it does to us. But you're right. Season is a write-off anyway. We just need to do the bare minimum and get 4th spot. It's going to be tough. Have I seen progress since Ralph's come in? I definitely have. I've seen progress not just on the pitch, but how we deal with certain situations. There's been some high-profile situations with the club. I think Ralph's handled it. And I'm glad the way he's handled it. I said it the other day in the stream. I said, look, he's clearly come in to not be the player's friend. He's coming in to manage. And if players want to try and, do this whole player power thing and say, oh, yeah, I'm just like choose when they have days off and stuff. And Ralph said, yeah, he said you don't want to play. I'm just going to round it up as you don't want to play. Yeah, and that's that. Because I'm glad he's just bringing a bit more of that old school managerial mentality to it. He's not trying to be anybody's friend. He's just trying to be the manager and do his best for the team and the club. And yeah, I just think, let's just try to get to the end of the season and then we've got a rebuild on our hands, haven't we?
Do you reckon he digs out Ronaldo and Bruno after the game and says to him, because I always hate to be like, well, Sir Alex Ferguson would have done this, but for a fact, Fergie, or to be honest, even people like, Pep or Klopp, for a fact, whilst I wouldn't say it to the media, after the game, they're going to those, again, senior pros, big players, people like Ronaldo and Bruno, taking them aside and being like, by the way, you get paid to put the ball in the back of the net. Unacceptable.
Yeah.
Missed chances like that.
Yeah, of course.
Make no mistake. We can sort of say, well, 4th spot's a priority, but make no mistake, we lost to a championship side at Old Trafford. That is unacceptable.
Yeah, that is unacceptable in itself. And to be honest, if it was Ollie, the uproar would probably even be more. Do you know what I mean? If it was Ollie that was at the helm at this time. But I do think he pulls them into a meeting, whether it's with the majority of the squad or he brings a couple of the senior players together and says, look, that is unacceptable. To Ronaldo, you walk around here like you're the big guy. Like you didn't show that against Middlesbrough. Do you know what I mean? So because Ronaldo can
talking to the young players, right?
Yeah. He's gonna have to have his. He's gonna have to hold his little cussing, as I say. He's gonna have to have that because at the end of the day, it's all fair. It's all fair play picking out younger players and saying all this and that's fair. And it was fair what you said. I'm not saying it wasn't. But on the flip side of that, you need to be held accountable as well when you ain't pulling up any trees. Do you know what I mean? And he didn't really pull up any trees today. Got into some good positions, had a lot of chances, but just didn't put the ball in the back of the net. And that's so un-Ronaldo. Like he was brought to make the difference in tight-knit games, and he just hasn't done it in the last few games. So yeah, they'll definitely need to get a talking to.
Pablo says, flat balls, no food and drink, leaking roofs, stadium full of empty, mostly corporate, no atmosphere. Said before, United is run like the government. So I know where Brady's $100 million plus 2.5-year contract was funded from.
Probably.
Not good. John says, Bruno missing sitters since Wolves and today, what the hell? I don't get the Bruno misses. Again, like you said, that penalty miss from Ronaldo, even that's crazy, especially, and it's always frustrating when, they miss a penalty, then they have a penalty shootout and they rattle it in the top corner. And I know people always go, what character? It's great, he stepped up again. First of all, character. Cristiano Ronaldo is character defined. Yeah. The frustrating thing is you just go like, what? Looking at the penalty spot afterwards, maybe the penalty spot was whatever. It's like, no, mate.
No, that was you. That was all you.
Yeah, exactly.
That was all you. A lot of players just do that to hide their embarrassment, don't they? They kind of like do a shit penalty. Spot they know the camera's on them, so I've got to make sure
But like the Bruno one, like you said, I just look at that. I look at that almost as even worse because it's literally an open goal. You know, the keeper's somewhat in it, but it's literally an open goal, and like I guess he tries to put it in the corner.
That's a
for whatever reason I
psychological
don't
thing,
understand.
though, you know?
Yeah,
I think that is definitely a psychological thing with Bruno, because I think he's very like rash. Like he's even like, and sometimes it does come off with his final third passing. He's like, especially if the play gets turned over really quick, he will literally just spray the maddest 60-yard pass and it doesn't get there. And you're thinking, Bruno, you could have just played the easiest pass. He literally goes from 0 to 100 real quick. All he had to do is just be composed and side foot it. He went with full, if you look at it, he went with full laces, blast, and he hits the post. And I'm like, what was that for? You could have just, do you know what I mean? You could have just passed it into the net.
and that's what I don't get, because like almost not like the headlines, but like some of the discussion after this will be about, oh, Anthony Elanga, like, oh yeah, did Anthony Elanga he lost us the game? And it's just like, no, he didn't.
No,
like
he didn't.
Yes, obviously he took the penalty that lost the penalty shootout, but again, if I was in the dressing room and I was Ronaldo or Bruno, I mean, imagine. But if I was one of them, and again, Anthony Elanga came in and he said something like, "Oh, sorry guys, I missed the penalty," I'd be like, "Mate, you have nothing to apologize for." By the way, he was playing unbelievable for us a couple of weeks ago, and we were all raving about him. That's one thing. He's a young kid who was kept way back in the penalty standings anyway, because they felt like obviously penalties wasn't his forte, or they were worried about the pressure involved, whatever it may be. If I was Bruno or I was Ronaldo, I'd stand up and say, "Mate, don't even have to worry about anything, because this game should have been won way before. I had a penalty in normal time. I missed. Bruno, we should be like, I had an open goal. I missed. It should have never came down to that. So never, ever blame Anthony Elanga or anything like that.
It should never have come to a 19-year-old boy, to be fair. It should have never done that. And for it to get to him, it just shows you kind of how frustrating this evening was. I think Henderson, I'm not really feeling him as a goalkeeper that tries to save penalties, man. I'm not really feeling it.
Well, yeah, the discussion of, after the Europa League final, when it was, well, if we'd have had Henderson and we would have won that penalty shootout. Would we bollocks, by the way, guys? Because that weren't happening. Come on. Because, I mean, you can talk about De Gea maybe having to save some of those penalties in the Europa League, but Henderson should have saved at least one tonight. And, when it comes to penalty shootout, the pressure's never on the goalkeeper. It's always on the players. That's why you're in a fortunate position as a keeper, because you're never going to be the villain unless it slips under you every single time.
Yeah.
But, he had his moment. And there are moments that, it's very difficult it was near impossible for him to get into the Manchester United side at the moment. David De Gea just won Player of the Month, Premier League Player of the Month, first goalkeeper to do that since 2016. If you're going to have a chance to get yourself in there, maybe it's when you make saves in a penalty shootout. Didn't happen for him. And he'll be frustrated because he should have saved one. He should have saved at least one of them. But it's just indicative of the whole night, isn't it? It's just indicative of the whole night. That basically
frustrating night. Frustrating night for us. And I felt weird after the game, because and this might sound crazy, but in some weird way, I felt sort of a moral victory, because I thought we outplayed you all over the pitch. Like, you got the referee to even chip in and help you, and it just comes down to some jammy penalty decision. Like, it just, I don't know. I just felt just like, and it's not like we played awful. We played some good stuff, like a lot of good stuff. And I know people say, but it's Middlesbrough, but still, we played good stuff. We did. And just couldn't score. It's just so annoying.
Pablo says, it was an off day up front. That's it. Where were last year's world's best left back on the shootout? Let the academy guys step up first. Of course, referring to Luke Shaw. It's just one of those ones, isn't it? Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's me starting to calm down a little bit already, or just trying to block it out of my head, because otherwise I'm going to go to sleep angry.
We've just got to decompress. We've got to just think forward. You've got to think we've got a game. What's it? Tuesday?
But I can't decompress, DJ. I'm unbelievably highly strung.
Oh man! Just watch. I don't know. I think just watch. What's it? Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar. When at WrestleMania, when Goldberg speared him through the. What's that?
Hey, spoiler, by the way, guys, if you're into that sort of stuff, Goldberg's coming back tonight as well on SmackDown.
Is he coming back?
In the know.
Bill Goldberg, he's coming back.
The guy's in his 50s or whatever, and he's Talk
He's
about
got
a
to be
guy.
57, 58.
He's in like mid-50s. Yeah, it's hard to go with like string and glue at this point, man. He needs like so many surgeries. It's unbelievable.
Who's he coming back to challenge? Sorry, I just sorry guys.
He's gonna face Roman Reigns in Saudi Arabia next month.
Oh wow!
Or this month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Sorry.
So, but if you want to hear more about that, go subscribe to my wrestling channel, Wrestling News 365. Go find out there. You can get that kind of discussion there. Anyway, guys, look, we're out of here because I don't want to make myself upset anymore. But be sure to like and subscribe. You know what? Actually, DJ might have to fill time a little bit. I'm going to do a live subscriber check. We were like 50 off. We were like 50 off when it came to 95k. So if we're only a couple off, we're only 40 off. We're only 40 off. So if there's 40 people that haven't subscribed that are in this now, you know what to do. You know what to do. Bottom right hand corner or wherever the corner is that you click subscribe. Do it because we're again only 40 off. We can celebrate 95k. Something positive can come out of this really shitty results. So you know what to do, guys. Anyway, we're wrapping it up there, guys, because it's midnight and like I said, I'm going to go stew and just be frustrated for the remainder of my night and not be able to sleep. We'll speak to you again very soon. Peace.